We are live, Mr. Gracey. What's going on? We are.
What up? You know, special Friday show.
Yeah, baby.
I
Gotta
feel like
love
it's Saturday, almost said Saturday.
I know when we're doing shows like this, you can't keep up with the week, man.
I know. Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday like marks the day. You're like, it's Tuesday, but it's
Exactly.
not now. Damn it.
Yep.
Hey, well, we're getting more high profile guests and fucking, doing surprise shows. Why not?
Excited for this one, man. We got a former bandmate of yours coming on today, dude.
Yes.
The one and only Sean Hennesy.
Memphis Hennesy.
That's right. That's right. Not to be confused with the Hennessy cognac.
No.
Even though his family owns that and he's massively rich because of it.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding.
He wishes.
Yeah. Who doesn't wish? Wouldn't that be cool, dude, to be born into like the Hiltons? Like, not even like, let's forget Paris Hilton's money like that she just got from being born into that family. But the fact that she can go anywhere in the world and stay at a Hilton for free is dope.
Fuck yeah.
Like that alone.
I don't know. I think right about nowadays, right now, I'd like to be fucking Barron Trump. That motherfucker is badass.
Man, could you?
He's fucking tall as fuck, dapper as hell.
Yep.
You know he's pulling the ladies. And then he has the fucking wherewithal to say hello to Biden and tell him we're coming for you.
Dude.
I love it.
Like that's slick, man. And he's slick in the way he operates. Like you're not really hearing much about Barron Trump in the press doing things, stuff with, dating and stuff like that.
I've never seen him talk. I've never even heard him speak.
Right.
Yeah.
And what sounds like. What a like reserved way to be in that position, because how old is he? Like 18, 19, 20, maybe?
He might be 20 now, I think, maybe. 19.
If you had me in there and my father was president and I was 19 or 20, my God, dude, Hunter Biden would have nothing on me.
I'm looking up his age.
Yeah, good. 18, Rob Bobby Yankee said. Thank you, Bobby, coming through.
Perfect. There he goes.
The man,
18.
the myth.
God, he's only fucking 18. Holy shit. Yeah, that's a great video. And like, I watched, you watched the inauguration. You saw him go over there and shake Biden's hand, but
you had no clue.
And they had the lip reader fucking saying, because his face like dramatically changes. And then the lip reader, because he looks at him and he's like, he shakes his hand and he's like, did he say the gloves are off or we're coming for you? Something like that. I forget what it was now. And then he walks back over to Melania and she's like, be nice.
Yeah.
And he's like, I will.
Yeah.
And then he looks back over.
God bless.
Imagine though, Joe Rogan was talking about, I was like, imagine though, if someone went after your fucking father like that, you'd be like, fuck you, motherfucker.
Yeah. 100%.
What's up, Matthew Frazier? What's up, Drumming Up Conversation? My mom's going up on Drumming Up Conversation soon.
Yes. Lana. We love you, Lana. I talked to him before. I'm like, if you need help setting anything up, but I think they said they're doing it when you're there. Or something like that.
No, they were going to, but I couldn't do it because tomorrow I'm shooting videos and I'm doing some of Bill's podcasts as well tomorrow. So busy.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, if they need anything, they know how to reach out.
I got a special guest coming in to play on one of my videos.
Yeah.
See what happens.
And she's a looker too.
Yeah.
That'll be fun, man. People are gonna be like, what? Exciting. So did you hear Adam? I was listening to Adam Devine, I think on Theo Von, and one of his houses, or like he's got a house in LA and it got broken into, and it's like they're like professionals, like everybody in his neighborhood is like getting broken into.
Yeah.
And it's like a ring. And he's like,
illegals?
Who knows? I don't think they were caught. It's like,
I think there was a ring of illegals going around doing it too, and they were shipping this shit like back to Mexico. Like, see ya, gone.
Yeah, sounds about right. But it's kind of like these people have their houses with their security system, but he's like, they knew how to like, shut it off. They cut off the internet, cut off the power and whatever. We're in and out in 8 minutes, which is quick as fuck, I guess. You would, I don't know if they got the layout of the home or what, but he said
that's what happens in a lawless city like fucking LA, where they don't prosecute those motherfuckers. They just let them walk.
Yeah.
Soft on crime, Democrats.
Dude, there was an FBI agent who was saying like just how fucked up like certain jurisdictions are, and California being one of them. Like they would be going after somebody, and if they didn't have like 5 kilos, like they didn't even want to prosecute nothing. So they were like, they were like, fuck it. If it wasn't like 1,600 pounds of marijuana, California was like, nah, fuck it, we're not going after them. So like they were turning away and not, prosecuting fucking. You have that much coke, you definitely have guns, and you're not doing this shit non-violently. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
So they're just
the no bail laws in California are ridiculous. It's like people just walk for like felony offenses, assault, all kinds of stuff. Same with New York.
But why do the politicians feel safe with their cities and states like having these people like
the
violent?
Politicians all have armed guards. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way the elite Democrats work. They're all protected with guns, but they don't want you to have guns. They're all protected in their walled compounds, but they want to let you fend for yourself with no guns with the criminals they let on the street. It's retarded. I don't understand how anyone friggin' votes for it, because it's like again, I'll use the term again, suicidal empathy. It's the same shit always.
Yeah. And it's almost like what they were doing with the COVID-19, like telling us like we can't dine indoors, we can't dine here, and then they're out there dining indoors doing all their shit.
Oh, that was classic Newsom. I mean, everyone's locked down. His winery's open. All the wineries in Napa are closed. His winery was right across the border in Sonoma, so that's open. His kid went to school because they went to private school. All the other kids are home.
Yeah.
I actually benefited from that because my kids were in a Montessori school at the time, so my kids were out for like 2 weeks and back, thank God.
Boom.
But the point is, it's like what's good for thee is, what's good for me is not good for thee. It's like, and so all the restaurants are closed. Everyone has to wear a mask. He's inside the French Laundry in a big table, no mask. They're all fucking partying, having a great time. There's video of it. Yeah. And people still vote for him. And it's like, what does it take? Like, what does it take to figure out that they lie to you and just treat you like peons and they do whatever they want?
And it's in real time. It's not like you're finding all this shit out about it like years later, like, they told us to stay inside, and then we find out years later like they were dining inside. Like, no, this was like the day of or that night they got caught like dining inside.
Well, the other thing is the mainstream media doesn't cover it. Like they don't.
Yeah.
If the media was honest, they would cover that and go, look, he's a hypocrite, but they don't.
Right. And shame on them because they're being fucked too. Like they can't dine inside, or maybe they can. I don't know. Maybe there's a secret spot they go to.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure.
It's just none of it makes sense to me. It's like, we
talk about all this stuff all the time, like all this crazy hypocrisy and all these things that they do on that side. And then I have people writing me going, you've lost your mind. And I'm like, I've lost my mind.
Right.
I've lost my mind. You've been lied to for the past, 12 years by the media on a consistent basis. Things that are now demonstrably false that we all knew was true then, but it was suppressed and you couldn't find out about it. And now you find out about it and you're just like, oh, no, that's fine. And I've lost my mind because I'm awake and I know what the fuck is going on.
And when you ask
I'm the one.
Right. And when you ask them, why did I lose my mind? They tell you, you rebut that and you like put them in their place, let them know. Then they hop onto something else, a complete 180 to a different topic that you got to defend on. And then when you do that, they're onto something else. It's like, they just don't get it. They don't want to hear a different point of view or see anything. They just want to say, this is why you're wrong. This is why you're wrong.
They'll cherry pick this one little thing.
Right.
That's what they'll have as their one little fact. Like that show I went on, and he was like, well, what about Jared Kushner and his $2 billion deal with the Saudis, and Ivanka Trump got a $700 million deal from the Chinese. I'm like, were they legitimate business deals?
Right.
Do the Kushners and the Trumps have businesses and sell products and make things?
Yes.
Yes. Does Biden? No. Does Hunter Biden make anything?
No.
He sells access to his father. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So to tell me that, Jared Kushner got $2 billion from the Saudis. Okay. Maybe he used his connection to Trump to do that. That happens all the time. That's called networking. But it's a legitimate business deal.
Yeah.
It wasn't just given $2 billion.
No, and that's how they like to do it. They like to say those little stupid things like, well, should he have gotten $2 billion from the Saudis? Well, let me look into that deal and then get back to you, because I'm not just going to know all that off my brain, but I certainly know that using your father as like power to play and like getting bribes under the table, going against the American people is wrong. And that was not happening.
40 shell companies and 10% for the big guy. And I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It was like this, I follow this one guy on Facebook that I used to work with way back in the day, and he's a liberal, and he's always putting up anti-Trump stuff. And when the whole when Doge first started to go in on Social Security and find all the 120-year-olds, and there's 3 million people over 120 years old, and the leftist talking point came out real quick. Oh, they use COBOL programming language, and all those young kids don't know what that is, so they don't know what they're talking about. I'm like, Jesus fuck, are you serious? You think all those geniuses don't know what COBOL is, the fucking programming language? Yeah, I'm sure they're completely have no fucking knowledge of it, and they're just completely off base. They don't know what they're talking about. Okay. Yeah,
they basically said that if one value wasn't inputted, it could like resort back to 18 whatever, and that's what was going on there. And they're finding people like 300 years old and shit.
There was one person who was like 360 years old.
Insane.
They don't know if they were getting money or not, but they're on the Social Security rolls. It's like, how is that possible?
It's older than Social Security and the country.
Exactly. But it was a COBOL programming language. Okay, yeah, I got it. No one knows what that is.
Got it. Get it. Good. But, good for them to come out with something like that right away. But it's like, if it's so easily disproven, what did you do? But maybe what they did do is get the people who aren't going to look into it, and it's COBOL, and that's it.
Oh, of course. Well, this is what the left does. Now their whole thing is this whole signal thing with Hegseth and the crew. It's like they're going to fuck off about that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Of course, the first thing was, he gave away war plans and blah, 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 and top secret information. Now, of course, after the dust settles and the leftist media has all their fucking heyday about it, it comes out, oh, no, that's completely wrong. There was no war plans given out. Now the guy, the leftist reporter that happened to be put onto the chat has even admitted that, no, there were no war plans given out. And I think it was Mike Walls' assistant is the guy who put him on. And of course, now you're finding out that he and his wife are connected to the Obamas and all this fucking leftist shit. I think, you know what I think happened?
Talk to me.
I think they were looking for a mole and they found him.
Oh, because I was just going to ask you, why were they using Signal if they're not supposed to? You think this was a way for them to, that's a good fucking.
That's what it feels like now that the assistant guy was connected to the lefties and his wife was like, had something to do with the Obamas, and it's like, okay, they found the mole.
Dude, they're going above 4D chess now, man. If they're, because I was thinking when it came out, I'm like, why did you have to use Signal if this is not fucking approved and this is a way for them to come after you and say, oh, look what they did. I mean,
thinking that too.
It's still, an encrypted platform, and it's way better than Hillary Clinton's private email server that everybody forgot about and nobody cared about. So I don't know why this is such a fucking big to do, but
apparently the CIA is about ready to release all the Benghazi files. Oh, that should be fun for Hillary.
Oh my God. Does she have immunity? I think
I don't know.
Can you imagine Biden left her out to pasture and he didn't give her immunity? And I don't think he did.
I don't think he gave her a preemptive pardon signed by Auto Pen.
That's amazing, dude. Yeah. I want a preemptive pardon.
Yeah.
From now until eternity.
Exactly. From now until I die, I can do whatever I want. You can't prosecute me.
Boom. Shaka laka. All right. Well, let's bring on our freaking awesome guest, Mr. Sean Memphis Hennesy.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, we're good. I can hear you.
Golden showers.
Cheers.
Success.
Cheers, dude.
Hey, Chad, how are you, man?
I'm good, brother. How are you? It's been a while.
Yeah, man. Are you in York right now? Are you in the studio?
I am, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We were just asking, we were trying to figure this out. Have you been to the building? You came here with Candlebox, right? Didn't Candlebox?
No, I didn't. No, I wasn't with that project. I came with Neil from Royal Bliss.
Oh,
and
right. Okay. Yes.
And we stayed there for one night. I think Chad CT was mixing a couple songs.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I remember that now. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
And then, I remember going on the roof talking to Chad and Neil. And I mean, let's be real, Chad talked for most of the time.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sean, sorry, go ahead, Chad.
I was like, you don't get many words in edgewise with Chad.
No, I called Chad yesterday. I actually didn't talk to Chad for a while. We talked for about an hour, and it was a good conversation. We just caught up about everything.
Nice.
And,
Sweet.
Get to hear about some sagas.
Yeah, I did. I hear a lot about that, but I also got to tell my own sagas too. So it's just kind of like catching up and where we are in our lives and all this stuff and that fun stuff. So
yeah, we'll have to catch up offline too. I want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna have to catch up with you offline too. Then I can't be left out here, Sean.
Yeah.
Royal Bliss. When I was looking them up on Wikipedia, there's a Brian Hennesy in the band. Is this a relative of yours?
Yeah, it's my brother.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah,
Older
Brian, younger.
Sorry.
He looks older because he looks like shit. Those are his words, not my words. But now I'm allowed to say that. He's 2 years younger than he's actually turning 40 in like 2-3 weeks, which is crazy.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I didn't leave Candlebox. Candlebox kind of just disbanded and I was in this weird limbo. I was in a really toxic relationship. And so randomly, like a couple weeks after that, Royal Bliss called me and they're like, hey, we're on tour with Fuel, but we need the guitar player, Taylor's just like, he has to miss some dates, but we can't like not take this tour. Can you fill in? I'm like, yeah, like I could totally fill in. So I flew out, I did a couple rehearsals and I did the run. And then at the end of that run, they asked me if I wanted to join the band because I had nothing going on.
Right.
And it was kind of an excuse at the same time to get out of Nashville, out of the relationship, just kind of like a fresh start.
Sure.
And then I moved out here and then kind of couch surfed, lived in a Neil's basement, the singer, for a little while, found a cool place downtown, and then toured for, I don't know, maybe 6 months. And then my brother calls me. Or I called him. I can't remember, but we were on the road and I was just calling to say hi. He's like, yeah, my girl after 8 years left me for another woman.
Wow.
And he was like, and he was a bass player, upright, doing all the folk. He was doing, graduated from Humboldt, so he's up in Arcata, like the hippie scene. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, do you want to come out here and just sell merch and go on the road? Like we have a bus, like just to do something. And he's like, fuck it, let's come out and do it. So he came out and then he toured for about 2 years. And at that point of 2 years, I started getting tired of the way they were touring. Instead of, because like, you tour at a certain level for so long and then you kind of go backwards and like, I already did this when I was like 20. I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
I'm still friends with the guys. I mean, there's a lot of other little things that happen, but we're all still friends. I still play with them all the time. And so Brian joined. The bass player left. Brian joined as the bass player. I think we played like 3 shows together, and then I took off. Plus, I was getting married, and it was a whole thing happening, and I was just like,
yeah.
And then
so they're still together. They're still doing stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know. It's still like the as internal band drama of being together for over 25 years, and it's basically.
I know all about that.
Yeah, I mean it's a good example. It's you got Neil and Taylor, so you got Steven Tyler and Joe Perry running the camp, and then the other guys are just kind of like, just tell me when I got to be there. I'm charging you more now and I'm not going to help load it anymore. That kind of stuff. Like there's all this like new dynamics and strangeness, but they're like, I think as what Chad Taylor said once is like we're still together as for the children, which are the fans. That was something that resonated to me, and I was just like. I get it, but we're starting to do tribute stuff. We just did a Tom Petty show the other day, and it was sold out. It was like 1,500 people. It's cool. Like, there's other avenues to still play music and be happy together without, no one cares about original music anymore, unfortunately, unless you're like 20 and you're a celebrity.
Right. It's funny because there's this guy on Facebook that I know named Sean Barry. He's originally from here in Pennsylvania, like Lebanon area. And he lives in California. He's hit me up several times to come see his tribute band. He plays in like all these tribute bands. So I went the other night to, where was it? Fullerton or no, Garden Grove. It was in this cool little tiny, like 1,000-seat amphitheater in the middle of downtown, which is wild.
Yeah.
But it was like Social Distortion tribute band, Talking Heads tribute band, Ramones tribute band. And he was like, yeah, dude, I make a shit ton of money just playing these tribute bands all over the place. I was like, that's fucking. So there's this whole underground, I guess it's not underground, but there's this whole other thing with all these tribute bands playing all these bands' music. It's wild.
That's what I'm doing right now. I got a Fleetwood. It's called Fleetwood Visions, and we're crushing it financially. I mean, we're making like big band money, and we're playing these theaters and these amphitheaters, and it's all to the cotton tops, as I call them. You know, the older folks. They have the money, but they also want to relive their youth. Yeah. And all my groupies now, you know, and we're not dressing up like them. We're dressing in the vein of, you know, like kind of 70s. We're not trying to put on a top hat and glasses and a duck like this. I don't do any of that crap. Like, it's more of an experience.
Good.
And we talk about the history of the songs, and it's just a flow, and there's a script. You know, we give everyone, like, I write the show flow, and I'm like, all right, after this song, Jen, one of our singers, like, just talk about these facts. You don't have to say it word for word, just make it yourself. And
dope, dude.
And then we go out and we have merch. We go out after merch because, you know, we make a little extra. But all my groupies, I'm not even kidding, man. There's probably usually 5 to 10 70-plus-year-old dudes waiting in line to talk to me.
Yes.
It's crazy because they want to talk about my guitar playing, or I sounded like Lindsay, or I sounded like Tom, or I'm doing an Eagles thing. We're playing a big theater on a Tuesday, which is crazy. But people show up. It's just because we play early too. We're done by like 9 p.m. So people are like, good, I can go to bed and still wake up at 4 and walk my dog. Right. You know, it's not. And these are the kind of shows I like doing now too. It's like, I don't want to go on stage at 11. Like, it sounds terrible.
Yeah, that's crazy. It shows though that people wanting to go to these shows that they're still like craving this style of music and this type of music, but it seems like maybe they just don't know how to get to it when it's released online or whatever, because, you know, all the pop music and stuff, that's the stuff that's like being streamed and stuff like that. But there's a big market, it seems, for people craving that old style of music and that nostalgia type of rock and stuff. So it's out there. You just got to fix.
Maybe the band's not on tour anymore or whatever, but it's cool.
I do. We call it dad touring, where we'll go to like Idaho for like 4 days and we'll play like 3 shows and then we come back and then we're home for a couple weeks. And it's like, we'll go to Arizona. I'm like, all right, that's good. Like, you know, we're all in a van and I'm okay with it. And I'm okay. And people are sitting, you know, it's not like a rock show where it's, you know, plus most of those people can't stand for 2 hours anymore either. I don't want to stand for 2 hours anymore. You know, we even have a segment like what we did in Gracious Few where the front porch sessions, which I still call it,
nice.
Where we come out and we sit down and we play acoustic like Landslide and Never Going Back Again. You know, like we make it an intimate moment, and Songbird where the rest of the band leaves and it's just a piano player and Sarah singing Songbird, which is like everybody either it's like a piss break or take a shot break or like and then we come out, we finish the set, and then it's, you know, it's just a fun little adventure through time.
You recognize the hat?
I do. I saw that when you were talking earlier. Yeah. I don't know. I think I wore mine.
That's a Gracious Few hat.
Oblivion.
Oh shit, dude.
Yeah, Kevin Martin designed that. It's based on the Twins, the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah.
That is dope,
so
dude. I never saw that before.
Is this live? Like live? I'm seeing things on the side. Yes. Don't swallow any pics. Ha, Renee.
Yeah, it's live right now. Yeah, we're live.
Okay.
And we recorded it as well, and then they can watch it later. But yeah, it's live right now.
That's fun. Yeah.
Audio will be out in like 2 weeks. You know what?
Sweet. Oh, Renee said, don't swallow any picks. I swallowed a guitar pick on stage once, and I choked. No, it was I did all this finger pick stuff, and I don't play with a pick anymore. I only play with a thumb pick. So like I don't have to swallow any picks. I found these Black Mountain picks. They're spring loaded, and I love them. Right. But years ago, I think it was 2015, I was on stage, and there was a segment where we break it down, and I'm doing all this like delay stuff, and I put the pick in my mouth, and I just happened to inhale like at the perfect time, and it bypassed everything, like my tongue, my mouth, and it went and got stuck. God. And it hit my gag. It hit my gag reflex, and I'm live, like in front of like 500, 600 people, and I'm like, what do I do? I'm choking, like I can't breathe. So I run off stage into the green room, and the opening band, all their stuff's there,
right?
And I'm like gagging, and all this, you know, all in my belly was beer, like light beer. So I was like, a swell of beer comes up because my gag reflex is happening, and I'm assuming my pick came up with it, but not knowing I'm in panic, I'm choking, and I'm like playing still. I see all the band's equipment, and instead of throwing up all over the band's equipment, I swallow it, to be respectful like a dick. I'm like, I should have just kicked all over their drums. That would have been a better story. So the pick went down and got stuck in my sphincter, like just going into your and it got like lodged, like so. Like I was like, sweet, I got it, and then I swallowed, and like 2 seconds after you swallowed, there's this really intense tightening, and that happened the rest of the night. So I was just like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I bruised it, so I kept drinking beer just to like escape. And then the next day I woke up and I was like, something's wrong. So I went to the ER, and sure as shit, they had to put me down, and they put this like thing in there.
Holy shit.
And I wake up and this guy's holding this like neon pink pick. He's like, I can't tell. And he's like, the doctor's like, I can't tell anybody about this because of the doctor-patient rule. And I'm like, tell everybody. He's like, I can't. I'm like, it's awesome. But they sent me the pictures, and it looks like a pink pick just sitting on a butthole. Because it's just like it's a sphincter, and it just and I have them still somewhere, and I still have that pick in that jar. It's the $3,000 guitar pick.
So Troy Garner asked if you got it back, so obviously you did. There you go, Troy.
Yes, Troy, I still have it, and it's sitting in a jar somewhere in my studio. Frame that fucking
thing, man. Put it on your mantle.
Definitely. I know. You were on the verge, I guess, of having it come out the other end. Then, if they didn't go in and.
Here's the other thing. The doctors were like, this is actually good that this happened because how big it was and because it's plastic. They're like, your stomach wouldn't have digested it. So this could have caused a lot of actual like real like serious injuries. It could have blocked your intestines. So they're like, and then there's once you like have an operation on your intestines, you're fucked for the rest of your life. You're constantly going to have issues. So they're like, it's a good thing you did what you did instead of like swallowing it and like getting it through into your stomach because you could have had way more health issues.
And the way the pick
is shaped, you try to do that.
Next time when you try it, do it the right way.
Yeah, but the next time.
The way that ship is, the pick is shaped, dude, it's like it could go down like the thin way and kind of like cut with the edges, or it could turn around and like really block your airway.
Yeah. It could have been. It could have been. But so that's the way it landed. It landed flat, like it instead of like that.
Oh my god!
And that's why I couldn't breathe. And I was like, and I ran off stage, and that's the gag reflex. Naturally, it was like trying to get it out, and then again the swell of, but pink on the butthole. Never thought I'd get it out. And I was still playing. And I finished the show.
Well, I love it. So the beer came up into your mouth, and you pushed the tip out, and then you swallowed it.
I'm assuming it was it. I was in such a panic because it was just like a swell, like like kind of like you take a shot, you're like that kind of thing. It wasn't vomit, it was just
it was
like
enough to remove it from your air hole.
Yeah, but I remember like looking at all the drum stuff, and I was like, I can't throw up on these guys' stuff, so I swallowed it back down, and then I went back out and playing. But I should have just kicked on those guys. I don't even remember the band as opening, but I should have just threw up all over their gear.
I totally should have. Totally,
they would have had a story. I would have been apologetic. We could have laughed about it. I would have cleaned it, but instead, $3,000 later.
I have not heard that story. That's fucking wild, man. And I don't blame you now for using a thumb pick. Never again.
Well, the thumb pick was an accident. I went down to Phoenix a couple of years ago to do an Eagles tribute, and we stopped at this music store called Milano's, and they had these Black Mountain picks. And I'm always a Jazz 3 guy, like really tiny picks, because I'm always like a hybrid picker. And they had a Jazz 3 style, like a really sharp, and I put it on, and I went to play one show, and I literally have never changed since. I even play acoustic. Like I just found the rhythm of my hand, and I love it. Like, so holding a guitar pick now is foreign to me. Wow. After 30 years, I'm like, this doesn't feel right.
So that's kind of crazy. After 30 years of playing guitar, that you found like a way that feels more natural to you. Like, and you could have picked it up maybe 15 years ago, and who knows what the hell.
Yeah, I mean, I picked it up 2 years ago, like the thumb pick, because normal thumb picks are stiff and they like cut the circulation up in your thumb, and you just got to be like, you got to know how to do it or grow into it or like just learn how to do it when you're a kid. I've never gotten into it. And this particular one, because it's spring loaded, it moves like an actual pick on your hand. Wow. So it's just kind of, but they're expensive. They're like $6 a pop. So I'm like, and I lose things all the time. So I'm just like, I've actually been better as I've gotten older, trying to like, where's my wallet? Like I'm putting it in the same spot. But yeah, I do go through the picks because they grind when I play, and they just lose they just become nubs. So I'm like, all right, I got to order another $60 for 5 picks or whatever it is.
Right.
Oh, so you wear them down. I was thinking like the spring action in it kind of got fucked up before that, but you actually wearing them down.
No, because I still pick, and then I still, when I have to do like really integral stuff, I can hold it like a guitar pick and play it. And I still do pick scrapes, and Chad knows me. I'm a reckless, sloppy guitar player. Yeah.
I love it.
Hey, I wouldn't say sloppy, but okay.
Well,
You know,
it's sloppy in a cool way, I think. I think
It
it's
looks-
it's funny because I'm doing I have my YouTube channel. I've been doing a bunch of videos, live songs, and I'm about to do Appetite. I'm going to do Appetite. So
Oh, fun. I was just playing that the other day.
every time the bridge comes, that's
Yeah.
you, buddy. I fucking love that.
Well, to be fair, that was Jerry Harrison.
But you can play it.
Yeah.
I took that. Jerry.
Yeah, that whole riff, that whole little integral riff was originally Appetite, but like in bar chords. That's how we were playing it. And then
okay.
And then we're like, let's slow it down. And then that's when Cara put that loop on the intro, and then Chad started coming up with that. And then Jerry and I sat at the piano, and he started playing the riff, like trying to figure it out. And he just started like playing that boo-doo-boo-doo-doo-doo. They were talking about the notes.
Okay.
And I was like, that's cool. Like, what if we put that over this part? And then so I took the Eric Clapton slash aspect is where I rolled the tone off all the way to 0 on my neck pickup. So it was really buttery. And then I played it like that. So it had like a different, really cool contrast tone to everything else. And then singing that, I practiced that in the apartment. We just rolled it down and we all need somebody, just playing it over and over. And then,
dude, that's dope. How you just got deep into that, where you're talking about rolling off the tones and stuff, and how you enjoy it. We appreciate that. I think the audience get a kick out of it. That was really cool.
I've actually thought about doing my own little videos about. I remember almost every song, like pretty integral, like people's moods. Where I'm really good at remembering stuff like that. Like who wrote what part? Like, huh?
What do you chalk that up to? Are you just so in the moment that it's in your brain, or is it just
And plus, especially with that record, the Gracious Few record, I was the youngest one. So like there was an intimidation happening for multiple reasons, but also like I was expected to like bring my own output. And there was different emotional squashings by other friends of mine. So there was I was in a weird headspace, but trying to like learn to grow. But I was also with guys that are like 10 years older than me that were like people that I had their records growing up to. So I was like, this is cool, but also it's intimidating.
Sure.
And so I took everything in. I observed everything. I was like, I was a lot of times, why are you so quiet? Because I'm taking everything in and like filing it. So
yeah.
And in 15 years when I'm on the Gracious 2 podcast, I could talk about it.
Hell yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember making that record. There was a point where everyone had to sit me down and because of my attitude. And I'm like, my dad just died and I just had a fucking baby. What do you want me to do? Who was there in the studio basically with me? Like, I am doing my best.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, and you just, I think you just lost your company. You had like an off-road company.
Oh yeah, well I shut that down a couple years before
but
that.
I know there was a lot of happening in your head. And I remember the Snooty Fox pissed you off. Kevin Snooty Fox, when he was always like, I'm the Snooty Fox, and he's always talking like that in the microphone.
I like that. Oh, maybe I yelled at one point. I was like, Tom.
You were on the drums one day, and you're like, can you just shut the fuck up and stop with that stupid accent?
Yes.
Plus, when I'm in the studio, it's stressful for me because I want to get the part exactly right, and we're all playing together. Like playing live is stressful for like recording live, I should say, is stressful for me. So I want to play the part all the way through perfectly. I'm trying to get it done. And then if I start fucking up, then it fucks with my head and I get pissed off at myself. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. That was my first time like tracking live. Like that was going to be a record that people were going to hear. And I actually liked it. But it was also making me like, I have to fucking be on point.
Yeah. And that's how we did all the first 4 live records. That's how we made them. That's why they're magical.
Well, that's how it used to be. Now it's, I remember a couple times Chad Gracey or Taylor's always like, I want to make a rock and roll record. And then after one of our takes, I said something after the end and he got all mad at me. And I'm like, Chad, that's fucking rock and roll, man. Like you could hear a door opening in an Aerosmith record. Like you could hear all these people talking. It's like, that was real. Like if I farted after the take and you got mad, we should have just left it in there because that was cool. Yeah. Like that's what happened in the moment. But he wanted the complete silence. And I'm like, all right, whatever, dude. Like,
have you talked to Kevin lately? I haven't talked to Kevin in a couple of years.
Well, no, man. I saw him this past summer. Adam called me, Curry, and he had some, because Kevin retired in 2024,
and then I'm retired.
And then the Bush Cantrell tour comes up, and he's obviously getting paid a shitload of money. And Adam, even Quinn. So Peter Kleck came out to do a couple shows because Quinn's just like, I'm already booked, man. Like we were done. Same with Adam. So Adam called me and he's just like, I'm in a pickle. Can you play bass for like 5 shows? I was like, okay. Like, well, so I had to go negotiate payment with Kevin, and it was. You know, it's funny. Like, you think going out on the road playing in front of like 20,000 people every night, like, would be fun, but it wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be, because I think, first of all, I came into the tour halfway, just where everyone's starting to get a little tired. Like the crew, everyone just kind of, So like the first week, everyone's just like Memphis is here. Like, this guy's cool. He's a fresh energy. And then a week after that, everyone's just like, fuck you, fuck this guy. This guy doesn't push cases right. And I'm just like, oh, and I'm just like channeling a new energy to like be a better person as a human, and like I'm meditating. And the Live Nation rep came up to me and she's like, you're always on island time. Like, if something's stressful, you're always just like, it's cool, man. And I'm like, yeah, because I can't be like this anymore because it stresses me out. I have a kid. I can't be tense. Yeah. But,
so do you internalize the stress and then people on the outside don't see it, or are you just figuring a way to like live in that Zen area?
Now I'm on medication, so I don't know how I feel anymore.
Perfect. That works.
Perfect. That works. No, I used to be a projector of stress, but I've been meditating a lot and trying to rechannel, and it's a lot to do with family life, marriage, getting older, like finances, everything. You want to continue to be a musician. It's a hustle. Taxes right now. I'm like a 1099er. I'm like, and then my wife's a flight attendant for Delta, so it always counteracts each other. Like, we're gonna get money back. I'm like, no, we're not. We owe money. It's just like this consistent battle. But anyways, going back to Kevin, he was just a little different. He was in his own world. So like, it was like, I hung out with the band, and I ended up staying for 3 weeks because they only had one tech and there's a lot of throw and goes. So I talked to Carlos. I'm like, let me just like hang out and I'll help, James like I'll set up stage right. Set up stage left. Nice. And that way it just helps everybody else. And then I would come out every day and I'd play it like a cover me on acoustic just to like help Kevin, like just be a front man. I'll just take care of the guitar part.
Yeah.
Plus I can, So, but yeah, he was just kind of in his own world, and everyone was also in their own world. So I don't know. But I haven't like talked. I've been meaning to call him, but I just haven't because.
Yeah, I wish him a happy birthday a few years ago via text, and he never wrote back. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, but don't take it personally. He does that to a lot of people, and people write me. They're like, hey, is Kevin get your number? And I'm like, no, he just hates you.
He just hates you. Well, so as an outsider, you think like, as you were doing this tour with Kevin right there, you're like, oh, they must be not just playing music on stage or hanging out afterwards or talking, but it seems like it was like a lot of kind of work. And then when it was done, maybe there wasn't much personal combos going on, but as fans of bands, we always think like, you guys are hanging out all the time. It's like you're on stage, you get off stage, it's party time, it's fun, blah, 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 blah. But it seems like people have individual lives and kind of go their separate ways. And does that take the fun out of like the tour, or do you kind of like that?
You just have to learn how to regroup yourself, because there's definitely a perpetual adolescence when it comes to touring, when people become famous or rich or a rock star at a certain age, and they always kind of revert back to this childlike individual. And I want to say childlike. I mean, they just like go back to like 20 years old, even if they're 50 years old. There's like attitudes that can come out because there's never been a growth period of like being on the norm, like a 9 to 5 where you go home every day. Like that's what people know. And then our lives are like, we're on a bus, we're on a plane, we're in a van, like we're going to each different city and playing. And a lot of the partying is fun at first. Then it becomes a numbing agent after a while to a lot of people. That's why a lot of musicians are alcoholics or druggies, because it's exhausting to like, but then also it's your own fault for partying all night and then having to do radio the next day. And then you feel like shit. And then you're like mad at yourself. And there's that self-guilt. And then you sleep, and then you're like, oh, I have sound check. And then what do? You have a beer to like kind of make yourself feel better. Next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. again. And you're on the tour and you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yep.
So, and it's the same thing, like I don't smoke cigarettes, but I went on tour and I got a couple nights. I got pretty saucy. I had some edibles, I ate mushrooms, but also I'm saying this because I was I didn't have to be a dad.
Right.
You know, I was gone. I was like, oh, I get to actually have fun with my boys again. But then there was a couple nights where I was just like, oh, cigarette. And then I smoke it, and the next day I'm like,
why did I do that?
Like, why did I smoke a cigarette? I feel like I just feel crummy. I feel sweaty. Like, so you have to find a balance of that. And that's why I was meditating more. Brian Quinn.
Sure at the time, Sean, when you were having that cigarette, it was oh so good that even though
it was glorious. Just at that moment. But yeah, even Brian Quinn, when we went on this last run, the other guitar player for one of the guitar players for Candlebox, he used to drink he probably come out on stage with like a vodka double, and I occasionally would fill it when I would tech for him. But for this run, he was sober until after the show. Like he wouldn't drink, and he's like, I want to be like clear-headed. Plus, Jerry Cantrell is a big fan. Like he's a big fan of him, so he wanted to be like, on point all the time. And then afterwards, then a couple nights, he'd come out, he's like, let's go to the bar, because it was after hours. But again, that tour was a lot of the sheds that we would play. You weren't around anything. It wasn't like you played a club and you can walk outside and there's bars everywhere. It was like we're in the middle of nowhere, so you just ended back in the bus and we'd watch a movie together and go to bed and then wake up and repeat.
Yeah, so, the shed tour for sure. The sheds are never around anything.
The
backstage and that's it. Like, okay.
Yeah. And plus when Candlebox would go on, we were just like, it was us, Cantrell, and then Bush. And so like whenever we'd go on, it was just right when the sun was just punching you in the face. Yeah. Middle of summer, and you're just like trying to look cool in pants. And like I'm like, I'm playing bass, which is just way bigger than me, and I'm playing Adam's bass, and I'm just like, this is so uncomfortable. Like I'm too hot. Like, I don't know.
They seem to always build those sheds facing into the sun, the stage facing into the sun. So.
Yeah, and that makes sense because obviously you want the crowd to see the band. You don't want the crowd to be like, I can't see anybody. We're like, haha, suckers. Like, we have to be punished so the entertainment can be enjoyed by them so they can see us.
No, but conversely, all those sheds have big fucking roofs over them. It's like, you could have this audience face the sun and they're covered by a roof. It's like, what the hell?
Anyway. But all the sheds that we played, it was just like shade, and then like, here comes the sun. It's just like, just for Candlebox, we're just shining on you. And then Cantrell, and then it's like glorious for Bush. It was like every night. I was just like, God damn it.
That's hilarious.
When you guys are saying sheds, is this like an amphitheater or something? Like, what do you mean by shed? Oh, okay.
Yeah, like outdoor amphitheaters, kind of things. They call them sheds.
Gotcha.
Like it's like shed tour, and
like
which
PNC.
I like.
Yeah. I'm getting the music lingo here. I don't have it all down yet. I'm slowly getting it. Chad uses acronyms and stuff. Sometimes I'm like, what?
Yeah, my wife and I talked yesterday. She's like, I have a habit of leaving shit in the car, and she's like, I need you to like be like, after you park, do a dummy sweep.
Yeah,
she's like, that's what it's called, right? It's called a dummy sweep. I'm like, well, we call it a dummy check. And then
idiot check, idiot check.
Oh yeah, an idiot check. We used to call it a Mercado check. No offense, Scott, if you see this. Scott Mercado, the drummer from Candlebox, the original Jim, he's a spacey dude. He's just always just in his own world. So he'd always leave shit. And so over time, we just thought, did you do a Mercado check? Because like we have to go back and like make sure like nothing was left. But yeah, my wife's just like, make sure you do a dummy sweep. And I'm like, I actually kind of like dummy sweep, but it's called a dummy check. That's how I'm used to it. And then yesterday, I'm like, did you do a dummy check? She's like, no, it's called a dummy sweep, right? And I'm like, whatever, it works. Like,
so
I will do a dummy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So
it's so necessary as you get older. I mean, I feel like back in the day, I didn't need to do these dummy checks, but now I got to do like 3 of them before I get everything and get it out. Probably.
Yeah.
When you have a kid or kids, you got to do
every day, man. I've left so many sippy cups or my coffee on the roof of my car from putting him into his car seat. And then I'm driving, and I'm like, what was that noise? And there's like my brand new coffee just everywhere in the street. And I'm like, ugh. It's better than it's that or my kid. Like,
I was going to say,
Ooh, where's Hopper?
Well, my kids my girls are 11 now, and my son Phoenix is. I know. Well, have you seen pictures of Phoenix? He's like almost 6'3". He's 15.
Oh my, 6'3".
Yeah, close to 6'3".
He's Baron Trump
2.5
height.
But Now when I get out of the car, it's just about picking up trash. Got to clean out all the trash.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, how do you get this much trash in friggin' a day?
Yeah, I've had to let go of things because, like, especially in the kitchen, like my mom was a cleaning Nazi growing up, and I used to hate it, but I am now a cleaning Nazi because it's like I scour the sink with Comet after every time, so it's like white. And then my wife comes in and she's like, here's some coffee. See you later. But also my kid, and he's just like, he's a mess. He's 4. He's almost 4. And I'm like, I've just accepted. I'm like, this is what I have to live with for a while or forever. Like,
right.
Like you just clean it up and then you turn around and it's just like, there's that scene in The Simpsons where it's like a clean, like Marge opens the door to the kitchen. It's beautiful. And then it swings open once and then it's just a disaster because the kids are in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like,
I have my kids. I have the kids every other week. So I just let it all go for the week they're there. And then they leave and I clean it up and it's nice and pristine for a week.
Smart,
like,
dude.
Like
yep. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just fucking with your head the whole time. Like, God damn it, they're not cleaning up after themselves here. They left.
Well, I mean, I had to get divorced to have that, but whatever.
The benefits of divorce.
Yeah, the benefits. There are some benefits.
Yeah, hey, I'm telling you, at first I was like, it sucks to break up the family, but I'll tell you what, having a week off and a week on, it's freaking awesome. And she enjoys it. Dinah enjoys it too, so it's good. It works out.
Of course, you need breathing room. That's why it's like my wife, Brooke, she's a flight attendant, so she's leaving today. That's why I'm in my parents' basement right now because my dad's watching my kid because my mom's also a flight attendant, and they're both They're both on the same. They're on the same trip together. But she goes away for like 3 to 4 days at a time a week and home for a couple days. So it's like she's been to Hawaii like 4 times in the past like month and a half. And she's going back to Hawaii in a couple weeks. And I'll call her and she's just like, oh, I'm at the beach with the Mai Tai and the bathing suit. And I'm just like, ah! So when she comes home, I'm like, I need some me time. Go take care of Hopper. I'm going to go do as much as I possibly can by myself for 1 day. Leave me alone, please. And then, but she gets it too. She's like, she's like, oh yeah, I've been gone for a few days, and I don't know, just silly how like you need the breaks or you go mental. Like living out here in Utah now, I don't get. Well, I get it. Like I'm not Mormon. I married into a Mormon family. My wife's not Mormon, but Hopper's number 16 of the grandchildren. 16.
Wow.
I have a brother. I have a brother and like 2 cousins, my whole family. And then and now it's like my whole family is like 40 people. And I'm like, oh my God. But I don't understand how it's crazy. Christmas too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You need like
chaos.
2 turkeys.
Do you have it at your house sometime or does one of
our house is big enough to handle all those people. We go to we go to the elders that have way bigger houses. But I see these people, they drive the 15 passenger, we call them the Polig rigs out here. And they have like 8, 9 kids. And I'm like, how do you even like stay like with a smile? And there's medications out here. It's called Happy Valley. So everyone's on like, just like, I'm happy because I have all these kids. And I'm just like, it's a bizarre culture out here. But I have 1 kid.
With 8 kids' schedules, like bringing them to cheerleading practice, football practice, like whatever's going on. That's 8 different people you got to manage.
And then they have kids. Like my in-laws, Scott and Vicky, they're troopers, man. They're like I'll call them on Saturday. I'm like, hey, can you watch Hoppers? They're like, no, we got a basketball game from 8 to 10. Then we got to go to a soccer game. Then we got to go to a hockey game. Then we got to do this. And I'm like, and Scott remarried to a woman who's also got another 30 people. So if you put the whole blended family, there's almost like 70 people in my family now. Like, and that's just her side. And then there's like
starting a militia.
Oh my God. And then there's my mom and dad, my brother and I. It's like the 4 of us. And then we're like, hey, we're from Cali. We're the oddballs out here and walking in. But I don't know. I have 1 kid and I'm like, I don't know how.
You're like at your wit's end. You're like, they got 8 and then kids on top of that.
I know.
Maybe sometimes it gets like after you have like 3 and then they start like aging properly. Then like the 4th one's helping raise the first one and it starts to help out rather than become a hindrance. Who knows?
Oh yeah. I've talked to a couple. There's one Mormon guy I talked to. He's just like, after a while, they're just utility kids. So it's like, if you lose one, you still have like 8 more left. I'm just I'm like, what are you talking about? But yeah, they all help each other. After a while, it's like they get to a point like Hopper's at the age where I'm like, hey, will you go do this? He's like, yep. I'm like, awesome. Like, I don't ever want to do that again. But then he's going to get to the age where he's going to be like, you dad, I'm not going to do that. Right. I'm like, all right. So I'm going to take advantage as much as he wants to like help me right now.
Or dad, I'll go do that. But what's in it for me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, do I get a lollipop?
Phoenix is right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Looking for the fundage.
Too cool for school.
Man.
Sean, does your son get into anything musical or anything? Is he staying out of dad's footsteps, or is he following it all?
Well, mom's musical too. She used to do cover bands in Dallas, like, every Thursday, Friday. That was her living. She still does, but not as much as I do. And I have a studio in my house, and he plays drums, he plays piano. I mean, I know when I say he plays this stuff, he's just hitting things, making noise.
Learning.
But yeah, and he's got pitch. He'll hear something. He'll know when a song's in a different key. He's like, Dad, this song's higher. This song's lower.
Wow.
And it's the same song. And on Tuesdays we have music class. It's 30 minutes. It's like 2 to 4 year olds. And you play like xylophones and maracas, and you sing songs and learning Spanish. But he's definitely one of the top. Even the teachers just like, he's like above everyone. And I'm like, well, we're both musicians, so he's just involved with it all the time.
Right.
And yeah, it's cute though. He's really into this band called OMFG, which I told him it's only milk for giraffes is the name of the band.
I like that.
But it's like child techno. It's like the same 4 chords with like weird, like just techno, like, and then it's like the next song, it's the same song but just different sounds. He loves dance parties.
Ideas? Like, I could make this in like my home in like 3 minutes and put it out there and get all these people hooked on this type of music.
Absolutely. We actually my songwriting partner Brian Haig and I, we started a little company called Rockabye Daddies, and we joined up with a production team out of Nashville, a friend of mine, and they sent us a Nickelodeon pitch, and we got it. Like our first pitch, we got a theme song called Super Duper Bunny Leagues. It just came out in April. And so now Brian and I were like, we could start saying we're Nickelodeon theme song composers, man. And then my kid loves it. And I'm like, great, because he sings. He's like, Dad, play Super Duper Bunny League. And then
Bobby, we had him pull it up for you. So I believe he has the intro song that you guys did. So we'll see if he gets this right. We actually had this planned out, Sean. I don't know if you catch the show, but our young Bobby producer sometimes has technical difficulties, but we'll see.
Okay. Oh, sweet.
Here we go. Yeah.
Handsome face.
Nice.
Yeah, baby.
Who's singing?
So check this out. So we had never done anything like this before. We're just like, let's just write something hooky and fun. They kind of gave us we want like some kind of 70s, like disco bounce meets whatever. So we came up with this stuff. We hired, we didn't even hire. We just told our buddy, David K. Martin. He's actually in the Eagles tribute with us because he's got a glorious voice. He sang Super Duper Bunny League, and sometimes they're in space. And they kept it. Nickelodeon liked his voice, so they kept it.
Oh, wow.
And he got
Catchy.
$6,000. Nickelodeon paid him $6,000 for that. And then Brian Haig and I had to split $4,000 for writing the song as just like the upfront. We obviously get the songwriting in the future.
Sure, yeah.
But we're like, motherfucker, you got $6,000. We had to split $4,000 and we wrote the song. And so we still have it. It just aired. So hopefully in 5 years, all of his money comes and we're like, oh, sweet. I forgot about, we wrote a song called Super Duper Bunny League. And I can't say Brian and I just wrote it. We wrote the initial song. Nickelodeon took it in. And then Tish and her husband, Matt Mahaffey, they wrote back and they're like, hey, we're in the top 3. And I'm like, is that good? Like, I've just gotten to the point in the entertainment industry where I just expect terribleness at all times. So if something does good happen, then I'm actually excited about it. And then we got top 2. And then Tish called me and she's like, hey, they decided to go down a different route. They're going to look for some more songwriters. Do you want to take another stab at it? I said, no, they're going to come back to it. And I was cocky about it. And then Matt, her husband's like, I like this guy. He still had never met me. And I said, this used to happen to my dad. My dad was an Imagineer for Disney, did all sorts of awesome shit for Disney. And my dad used to write 1,000-page scripts for, he was a concept writer. So he would write what you would see and then people would build it instead of an artist. He would just write it and then he'd give it. And then all the suits would have to make their notes on it. So I have a part of this. And then my dad would make the changes. make the changes. And my dad used to go, fuck this. And then he would resend the first script. And they always approved it.
Yeah.
They had no clue. They just were like, oh, I had a part of this. And my dad's like, no, I wrote everything. You guys are idiots.
I love it.
That was the concept I took. And I told Tish and Matt that I said, they just want to have their hand in it. And then I said, they'll come back to it. And then I was at a Beach Boys concert in Logan, about 90 minutes north. And Tish texted me. She's like, we got it. I'm like, Nice. So Nickelodeon, because they have a relationship with Tish and Matt Matt wrote Expedia.com, like that's him. They wanted him to exclusively produce it. So from there, Tish and Matt added their own flavor. I sent them all the stems, and then it was a co-written with the four of us. But Brian and I gave them the hooks, and even the climb, the don't. Sometimes they're in space. I ripped that off from Mark Ronson in Uptown Funk.
Oh shit!
Yeah. But and then my songwriting partner Brian's like, "Do you think we get sued?" I'm like, "No, it's nothing like it. Like we're being inspired by that part,
right? And
it's familiar to people's ears, and they're gonna like it." And sure as shit, they took the bite for it. And then they sent us another Nickelodeon theme song a few months back for a SpongeBob record, and we got that too. So I was like, yeah, that's not released yet, so we can't play that yet. I can't say anything, but it's called Happy Sappy Summer Song. I think that's what we called it.
Happy Sappy Summer Song.
And just wrote it. Like I wrote the music a long time ago, and Brian had this idea, and we got together, and it just came out. And there's actually on my Instagram, there's a video of me playing lap steel at one point, like writing a new song or something. And that particular take, which was my second take, because I wanted to film it, is what is on the record. We just kept it. And I was just like, sweet, this is what came out. But it's cool that we have a SpongeBob song now, which is kind of cool.
It was funny before the show. I was telling John how incredibly talented you are. I've always admired that about you. But you come from your dad is an amazing artist. And then obviously your brother's a musician too and a great musician. What did are there things at the park that your dad designed that you can point to and go, he was that, or
okay, well, let me go back. Let me go back here. So my great grandfather was one of the handful of artists with Walt Disney. So we were just recently watching what movie was it? It was like Pinocchio. It was one of those. It was one of the more obscure ones. But if you go back and watch Peter Pan, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Pinocchio, Snow White, all of those, you will see either it's like a layout artist, which would be Hugh Hennessy, which is my great grandfather. So he was he was many of the artists of Fantasia, all of those cartoons. And that's my son, Hopper Hugh, is named after him. But we spelled Hugh. Hugh hated his name. And my uncle Michael is Michael Hugh. But we changed Hugh to Hue for the color spectrum to give an artist nod of like, here's to Hugh Hennessy, but we spelled it different to just mix it up and make our son unique as a human and his name.
Homage, but not like boom.
Yeah. So he did all of that. And then my grandfather came in, Dale Hennessy, and he worked for Disney for a while. And he came up with the first concept of Main Street and Tomorrowland. And there's like paintings of it that you can buy at Disneyland of like this like cool 60s looking like futuristic style of the rocket ship when you first walk in. Wow. And so he did those concepts. So it's like when you walk on Main Street, I'm kind of like, you can see like my grandpa's like was the first concept. Like he drew these. It was like, here's Main Street. And then my grandpa left and worked for, like did a side gig like at 20th Century Fox or one of those theaters back in like the 50s or 60s. And Walt found out about it. And Walt was like, mafia, like if you're in my family, you're in my family. And so apparently my grandpa and Walt Disney got in this big fight. And my grandpa's just like, fuck you, I'm leaving. I'm going to go work in the movie industry. And Walt's like, yeah, go have fun with that. So my grandpa ended up leaving. He won an Academy Award for Fantastic Voyage for art directing. Wow. He did, he was the art director for like Young Frankenstein, Annie, Logan's Run. He did a bunch of Dirty Harrys. He did a bunch of shit. The King and I mean, there's sure there's more. But during all of that, while he was on, my dad got a job at Disney building models when he was like 17 or 18.
Like Naomi.
My dad was very artistic.
Like Naomi, the supermodel, or like other models.
Oh yeah, building Naomi's and no, but like building analog, stuff that computers do these days. So like all these huge like little parks. My dad's like, there's pictures. There's actually, if you go on Disney Plus, there's like the Imagineering story or something. And episode 3, my dad is the thumbnail. It's
wow.
and he has hair, so it took me a minute to like, that's my dad.
That's funny.
And so he's like sitting in front of a model, like you kind of see half his face, and he's like doing something, and that's my dad. My dad and I watched it together. He's like, holy shit, that's me. Like had no clue. So, cool. So he started doing that. He ended up getting an award for the most injuries because he used to like juggle scalpels and be an idiot because he's like 18. Like, guys, look at me. And then like a scalpel just falls into his leg. And he's just like, oh. So then he ended up enlisting because that's when the draft of Vietnam was going to happen. He says, I got better enlist. So they didn't get sent to war, but he ended up in Fort Worth, Texas, I think, for 2 years and ended up in the photography department. He hated it. Obviously, it wasn't. And then when he came back, he had a VW bus and he said it took him like 3 days to drive back to California because he was against the wind the whole time. Like a VW, just like couldn't get like pedal to the metal, going like 30. And he gets back and then his dad was working on Young Frankenstein. And so he goes on set and he meets Mel Brooks for the first time. And he's like, my introduction to Mel Brooks was, he's like, hey, nice to meet you. He's like, what do you do? He's like, well, nothing, sir. I just got out of the army. And Mel Brooks says, get a job, you bum. And so, and then after that, my grandpa basically was like, hey, do you want to be a PA? Just like get your feet back. He's like, yeah. So he became a PA and he was just kind of working on all these movies. He worked on Logan's Run. And he has a funny story where there's a scene where they're all escaping and they're all climbing up this mountain. And obviously it's fake because it's dolls, but he was hired to go find like the 12-inch G.I. Joe dolls, but they were all sold out. So he went to WeHo, West Hollywood, and back in the 60s, they had these things called gay Bob dolls. And they were like tall, just gay men, and they came in a closet. That was their box. And you open hysterical. It up, and you can dress them up. So my dad bought like a plethora of gay Bob dolls, and they dressed him up like the Logan's Run. So if you watch the movie and you see these guys climbing up this mountain, they're all these gay Bob dolls that are like
hysterical.
I love that kind of stuff.
That's right.
Who even knew they were making gay dolls back in the day?
I know,
they
right?
were ahead of their time.
West Hollywood. Yeah, in a closet. So then my dad wanted to be a writer, so he wrote a show secretly outside of Disney for almost like a kind of a Chuck E. Cheese somewhere in Burbank, where it was animatronics, and he wrote the show to that. And then I guess some Disney executives came to eat lunch, and they saw the show, and they were like, "Hey, like who wrote your show?" And they're like, "Oh, this guy's Scott Hennesy." And they were like, "Huh, Scott Hennesy works for Disney." So then they call him, like the executives call my dad in, and my dad's like, "Oh fuck, I'm getting fired." And they walk in, and they're like, "Hey, you want a writing position?" And my dad's like, "Hell yeah." They're like, "Just don't do that again." So then he started becoming a writer from that. And then he became one of the head writers for Epcot. This was in like late 70s, early 80s when they were building Epcot. And that's when I was conceived. So there's 30 of us or 31 of us. There's we're called Eptots because we were all the kids that were born. There's like a newspaper article somewhere. If I find it, I'll send it to you guys.
You lived in Florida at this time?
No, but he was just commuting. We were in Burbank with one of the heads. So he was always in Florida. And again, I'm a sperm at the time. I don't know. And
you're an Eptot.
I'm an Eptot. So I guess I'm not a sperm. I'm a little guy. Yeah. And then my dad wrote a show called The Kitchen Cabaret with two other guys that were like the artists that created the visuals. My dad wrote all the songs, wrote all the scripts. And then that was kind of like a Country Bears thing where it was fruits and vegetables, pun central, where you can go sit down and watch all these, veggie, fruit, veggie, fruit. They wrote all those types of songs.
Dude,
and funny
that's
enough,
ahead of its time. Like I have my nephew, like he's watching all these veggie fruit things on YouTube with music in the background. Like, so that was ahead of its time back then for them doing that stuff.
Yeah. My dad recently, a couple of years ago, started getting royalties again. He's like, I don't know why I'm getting royalties. And then we went to Epcot to see some family, and for the big fireworks show, veggie fruit started playing in the montage. And I looked at him like, that's where you're getting royalties. It's like, your song's being played every single night. So he did that. And then in the late 80s, he started working with the Japanese for Tokyo Disney Sea. And he was a head writer. And my brother, my mom, and my dad just went to Japan last week for the Dodgers game. They flew out there. But my dad said that basically, my brother was just like, Dad was like on a parade float the whole time because he's like kind of a celebrity out there with a lot of the Japanese because he was there for 20 years back and forth. So they went to Tokyo Disney Sea, and my brother sends me a picture. And there's one of the rides where they're riding, and there's all these submarine captains, and my dad's one of them. Like he's up there, like And I was like, that's cool, man. You're like immortalized at TDS. And, but yeah, so he was just a writer for that long doing all that stuff. I can't say he did anything at the in Anaheim. I know he wrote the Buzz Lightyear, the Buzz Astro Blasters or whatever. Like when you're waiting in line and there's like Buzz talking to you, like he wrote a lot of that script, but I think he did it for the Japanese and not for Anaheim.
Wow.
But a lot of script dialogue stuff. And when I went to Japan with him when I was 15, we used to go in the studio, which at the time it was so boring to me because they're just a different culture, and they were doing all the voiceovers for the animatronics. And I was just sitting there like, oh God, this is so boring. And I couldn't understand anything. And they would like have them stop and redo the same parts. I didn't know. And
Sean, that's Japan that you're talking about right there?
Yeah. Tokyo.
I just heard Bill Murray was just on, I believe, Howard Stern, but he was talking about like he likes going to Japan because their society is like so serious, I guess, from like they're almost like penance from World War II. Like they're still just like very like serious society, but they love when tourists come over and have fun. So like when tourists come, like they actually encourage them to like act out and be wacky and just like really enjoy themselves, even though like they kind of don't.
Yeah, it's probably why my dad's so popular out there because he's a big wacky dude. And they're very proper, they're very clean. But what's crazy is they party. They drink beer like it's no tomorrow, because my dad would do a fasting like a month before going there because he said every night after their meetings require drinking beer. And so I went to a few of those meetings. This is when I didn't drink, but everyone's just getting sloshed and pitchers for hours. And then you go outside and there's Japanese dudes in suits just puking in the street. And my dad's like, oh, it's normal. And then they go to bed and they wake up and then they're like back to like business time. And then nighttime, they're like, oh, partying. And then they repeat. I'm just like, wow, this is like what a different culture.
Yeah.
That's
kind of a cool culture.
Yeah, but hopefully that answered your question. Like my dad did that, my grandpa. I'm just trying to give a backstory of what everything is. I'm sure there's a lot more to it.
It's an amazing backstory. I mean, it's what is that? 4 generations, 3 four generations?
3. And then my brother and I were like, screw Disney, we're gonna be musicians and make money.
Right. We're not doing that.
Now we're like, what did we do? What did we do?
Now you're with Nickelodeon. So, you went Disney to Nickelodeon. So
yeah, we did do a Disney pitch, but we didn't get it. But I was just like, if I can get a Disney pitch, then that'll be 4 generations where I can be like, boom.
You drop the name?
There's a 4th. No, they don't care anymore about that. It's all this. It's corporate. They're so massive. They're just like, who wrote this? All right, whatever.
Yeah, it's way different than it was for sure. I mean, just look at that new Snow White debacle. That was fun.
Sean, you said the name of the company was Rockabye Daddy that you guys.
Yeah, we don't really have anything out. It was like we started it and like Rockabye Daddies, and then like we got this pitch, and then we're like, we should do something with this. We just haven't done it because Brian's also in all these tributes with me, so we're constantly like building tributes and like getting stuff together and going. So it's and he's got 4 kids, so like young kids, like talking 1 to 7. So, and then his wife works. So when she's gone, he's just there like Mr. Mom. Like, I can't do anything right now. So a lot of times if we go to write, I take Hopper over there and just put the kids in the playroom. I'm like, all right, let's try to get something down. Like, what do you want to come up with? And then it's,
we got 10 minutes. They're watching something.
Yeah, exactly. Go.
Yeah, right. So it seems like maybe Rockabye Daddy was started for something else, but then once you started to like flesh out these song ideas, it's like seems to be going into like this sort of direction.
Yeah. I mean, like the obvious goal for a lot of like composers is you want to get contracts where like if we got the Rockabye Daddy's scoring card, that's what we wanted. Like where like you get X amount of dollars and then you're getting paid to sit in your own studio. They send you episodes and like, all right, we need this kind of vibe at this part. So we're just writing all day to the scenes and then we send it back and they're like, make these tweaks. And that's our ultimate goal. We just so many time. And like Tish, the queen of the whole thing, she's like, just write a couple scores to something already done. So like we've talked about, like, let's find something, put it on mute and compose her own thing to it and what we would have done and send it back to her. She's like, I can get you jobs because all her employees, they just have gigs scoring like children's shows and everything else. But again, it's just like having little kids. It's like, there's no time for us to like figure this out right now. And it's just like, how do you figure it out? And I mean, there's
especially
ways.
If it's all different shows. Like if you were able to just focus on the one show and kind of play it all the time and do that. But when you're throwing 900 different things at you. It's like, you know, you got to focus on this one, that one.
And the hardest part is a lot of times when you do these pitches, you don't get paid. You know, it's just like you're hoping to get it. And so that's why we made a mark very quick. We were 2 for 2, like right out of the gate. They're like, oh, these guys are, everyone else is in Nashville, but we're in Utah. So it's like, you know, like, hey, we know what we're doing. We have a studio. We're both artists. We create. So just send us more stuff. But she's like, that's why we want to get a contract. So we don't have to like be up till 3 a.m. like, all right, we hope we get this. And then if you don't get it, you're like, oh, like that was a long night of nothingness.
But how cool,
other than a resume.
How cool for them to have somebody like you that's been in awesome rock bands, like scoring their stuff. It's like a notch up for them, you know, as far as promotion and marketing goes, in my eyes. Like, you know,
I don't think anybody knows that's what I used to do because I don't really talk about it. So I think I'd rather have them find out about it and they come up and go, oh, you did this. And I'm like, yeah, that's, you know, I'm not a guy to talk about it, I guess. It's just
true.
Seems kind of like egotistical in a way, in my own opinion. But
yeah,
if it's brought up, I'll talk about it.
I figured they would just have to know. I mean, the Gracious Few, some Candlebox stuff.
This is what I do on the dating apps.
Yeah. No, you know, the Gracious Few, we were a fucking tight band. Like we were tight. Like we were on point most of the time. I remember the show we did in San Francisco when Jerry came out, and you remember he taped all his lyrics on the mic stand. There was like all this paper everywhere. Yeah. And Carl Durfler and Jerry Harrison came out, and I had that was towards the end of the show. So end of the tour. So I was like primed and ready. Like I was on point with my tone. I knew everything. I knew where to go. And I remember Chad didn't have a very good, not Chad Gracey, Chad Taylor didn't have a very good show. And I remember like Jerry and Carl coming up to me after the show, and they were like, as Carl said, you were phenomenal. Yeah. I was like, do that voodoo that you do, man. But because I was just on point that night, and they were very encouraged and excited because they saw some weak sides of me in the studio, and then they got to see another side of me, which was that was very encouraging and helpful. Mm-hmm. And nice to have that feeling, and it still stuck with me. So
at that show, didn't we do something? What songs did we do with Jerry?
I think we did a Modern Lovers song. I can't remember. We did two. Right. We did 2 songs with him. I think one was a Modern Lovers, and maybe one was just like a cover. I don't remember. I just remember Jerry like taping like sheets of paper on the mic stand. It was hilarious, and it was just like paper going all the way down to the stage. And
yeah. Sean, you also, I don't know if it was just a show or a couple. I think you played in live when Christian was singing as well.
Yeah, I did 2 shows, and that was a very exciting moment of my life. And I remember Chad Taylor was trying to show me the guitar parts, and I already knew the guitar parts as much as I knew. And Chad said, out of all the guitar players that have played in live, you're the only guy that's known the right colorings, like how I played them. He's like, people are playing them in different positions. Like I could hear it. I'm like, this is what he was doing. I'm actually in a band called Sludge Judy, which is just kind of like a hard rock therapy band with all these other really top musicians, a couple guys from Royal Bliss, some friends of ours. And we cover I Alone, which is funny. So it's just like,
oh, nice.
I was like, I've actually played this song with the guys before and live. Hi, buddy. Hey, here's my son. He found me. This is Hopper. You say hi.
Hi, buddy.
That's John and Chad.
Hello.
They're saying hi. I know you can't hear them. Can you say, what's up, dudes?
I can make faces.
He's like, oh, let me hear.
Hello,
What's
Hopper.
up, Hopper? How are you?
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you is right.
Okay, go get Grandpa. I'm almost done, okay?
Dude, you're going to be in trouble. He's going to be a ladies' man.
Yeah, he's already a performer. He's just like, Dad, and a director. He's like, just do this. Sorry, what we were talking about? I was going somewhere with that.
Oh, you're playing I Alone in the band, the one.
Playing with live.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did 2 shows. We did the one in York, the home show with Chris, when we all covered each other with baby powder in the backstage wearing black. And then we played South by Southwest, which was a really fun moment for me. There was these two girls, younger, like early 20s, that had played South by Southwest. And it was the Gracious Few, Candlebox, and live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was on the same side for all 3 shows. So we played Gracious Few. We did like a 45-minute set. Then it was like, a 30-minute break, and then Candlebox came out, and I came back out, and these girls are like, you're in this band too? And
you were the only one that did all three sets, right?
Yeah. Did I freeze, by the way? I'm frozen.
Oh, you're good on our end. Good.
Okay.
You're working.
And then we go out, we leave the stage and we come back out for live. And the two girls in front of me were like, how many fucking bands are you in, man? Like that was a really funny moment for me to have. But
man, that had to feel crazy.
Yeah, that era of time was probably my prime as a guitar player for tone and I was just playing so much all the time that I was so much better. I'm not as good as I was because I don't play like that. I don't tour. So if you play every day,
that's three bands of music in your brain that you have to perform in one night. Like that's
oh yeah, I love it. I've always had a capacity to memorize songs. I could probably play 500 songs right now by memory. Just like if you just name them out, I could play them. Just because it just sits there.
Is it so? Say for a night like that, are you kind of going through and like you're like playing the song from start to finish, kind of how you learned it, or is it like at times during it you maybe have to go off script or off like the music or something because you forgot something and you need to kind of fill in or whatever?
At that point, I just knew it. I knew where to go. I knew when I wanted to throw in a riff here and there because I'm like, like there's a space here. There's no vocals. There's a spot where I can go wham, wham, and just throw it out, throw it away. But a good trick is if you flub something or you get lost as like a pick scrape, it's like a or like you're like, all right, where am I? Like, and then just actions are like, kind of jack off on the guitar, do like the noodling. It's like, like, I'm going to an A chord. Here we go. Or there was times, a trick that I used to do with Candlebox, that if I couldn't something, because there would be brain farts. Something used to be like, I don't remember what chord I'm going to. I would either drop down and like play with my pedal board, like something was wrong. So if the band looked over, they're like, oh, something's wrong with his pedal board. Or I'd go back to my amp and like mess with it, which would freak out the techs. They'd run out there. Is everything okay? I'm like, everything's fine. I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm at right now.
Right.
And then, but that way it's a performance. So it's not like, because you see guys on stage. I remember seeing Weezer and the lead guitar player. He threw a hissy fit on stage because something was wrong. I was like, don't ever do that. Like, no, just pull it off. Or so, there was times where I would just hold my hands up in the air and look at the crowd like something's wrong. Like it's out of my control at this moment. And no one cares. They rather see you having fun than if something goes wrong instead of being an asshole. And I learned that very early on because I played with rock stars from like 19 and on. So I got to see like, don't do that, do that, don't do that, don't do that. And it's kind of molded me to be kind of I like to say humble, but like just a good person to like work with and hang out with because I don't want to be an asshole. Yeah, well-rounded. So
most of the time with that stuff, the audience either doesn't notice or they kind of like seeing that. They're like, oh shit, so they're not robots. They mess up sometimes.
And I like when there's errors on stage. I like when I can hear a flub because I'm like, you are human.
Right.
Exactly.
It's like I've seen the Kings of Leon a couple times and it's so boring. I love the Kings of Leon. I saw them before they became who they were. And they didn't move a lot, but like before they became who they are, they were more like hillbilly rock and roll. They were sloppy. Yeah. And things were like, but then as they got polished and they got all their reverb and their sound that became the Kings of Leon, I would go see them and I would just sit down. And even if everybody was standing, I was like, they're just.
Oh, we lost them. It literally, it literally cut. He's not even in the green room. I'm guessing, either whatever he was on died.
Oh, shit. Oh,
he's back. Sweet. Hold on there, folks. There we go.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know what happened there.
Me either. I was thinking like you're on a device that died. I was like, oh no.
No, I'm plugged in directly into my Wi-Fi. I'm not on Wi-Fi just in case. So I don't know what happened. You didn't pull any plugs, did you, buddy?
He's like,
Dad, we need you.
He's like, get off, Dad.
Yeah. Well, Sean, the way we do the good.
Yeah, that's all. I don't remember what I was talking about because I got distracted.
Well, I wanted to say the way we always do this is we introduce the audience to the guests and we leave them wanting more. And for sure, we just literally scratched the surface with all the stuff you got going on. So we'd love to have you back on in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Rock on. Would you like to tell the audience where they could find some of your stuff on social media? And I think Super Duper Bunny League is coming out April 19th. I'm not sure, but I think.
Yeah, Super Duper Bunny League is coming out on Paramount Plus, I believe, April 19th. It's on YouTube right now. But go click on it because that gives me like a half a cent to split with my songwriting partner.
There you go.
But yeah, Super Duper Bunny League is on Nickelodeon, Paramount Plus. Keep an eye out for the SpongeBob record. I think it's coming out this summer for their 25th anniversary or something. And then social media is it's all Memphis, Hennesy. That's where you can find me. My real name's Sean, if you guys know that. But in the rock world, I've just gone with Memphis because people can remember me. But I make stupid videos and I like to have fun and I play music and I'm just a big goofball.
I would have went with.
We called him the kid when he was in the Gracious Few. In fact, you're still on my phone as the kid. So
I'll take it. I'll take it. It was. Hey, thanks for having me on. Though this was fun. I think this was my first real podcast where I was excited to get on. Like, oh, this is fun because awesome. I know people and we can just chit chat and shoot the shit.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
It's great, dude. Awesome.
And then is there a way after this, can I go back and see these? I see some of these quotes happening, but I haven't seen them all. Can I go back and answer them or?
Yeah. So the way it goes, we have a super chat that we could see on our end that goes from Rumble to Instagram to Facebook and stuff. But most of the comments you're seeing are probably from Facebook. So if you go to the Gracious 2 Facebook or Chad's Facebook, all the comments should be there under this video.
Awesome. Hey, you.
Hey,
there he is.
We're giving you Daddy back.
Yeah. Do you want to say bye, everyone?
Yeah. Bye, Hopper. Thank you for giving us your dad for a little bit. Rock and roll.
It's
Sean,
a microphone.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Be good,
See you guys.
Take it easy, bud. See ya.
Bye, Hopper.
He's on the mic.
Yes.
Right. Thanks, everyone.
Kid. Peace. The one and only Sean Memphis with his awesome kid Hopper right there. That was cool.
Yeah, very cool.
I love the way when he was getting into the you guys recording the Gracious Few album, how he he almost brought us right into that moment. Which was very cool. So that was dope that he's got a memory like that. You were probably hey now. Probably brought you right back.
Well, it was cool. You just talk about stuff that I didn't even see because when the way we cut that record is we all come in, we play live together. I just mainly kind of get the drums, but try to get as much as we could in that take. And then I would, like I said, I had my Phoenix was, we had Phoenix and 10 days later we were in the studio making the Gracious Few record.
Oh, wow.
And credit to my my ex for doing that because it was tough. And so he was literally 10 days old when we got to the studio.
And no excuse for you to be a little bit stressed there, maybe a little bit short, huh? They wouldn't.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny. They all sat me down. They wanted to talk to me. And I'm like, are we serious right now? My father just passed. My kid is 10 days old.
Right.
And I'm dealing with my ex who had a little bit of postpartum depression. I'm like, give me a little slack here, man.
Yeah, please. Don't, and especially that's adding to it because then now I'm that would piss me off. Dude, I'm going through this and okay, maybe my attitude's not the best, but now this, fuck off.
Yeah, you got to have a sit down with me. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, whatever. I don't even know what our rush was. Even when, talking way back when talking to Chad about it, it's why the fuck did we, what were we doing? Why did we have to get in the studio and make that record 10 days after Phoenix was born? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Stupid. Anyway.
Well, maybe, because that album really was fucking killer. I don't know if it was just ideas you guys had that needed to get out or something, but I wonder what.
Oh, no, that whole record was pent up fucking energy from playing just Ed songs for the past, what is there, 4 records or 5 records? We were we want to rock again. We're not, I don't want to sit here and have to play, here's the song, this is the arrangement, and just sit down and play your drums to it.
La da da da.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get in a room and rock again. Come on. That's what Chad, Patrick, and I wanted to do. And, we brought in Kevin and Sean. But like I said, the stuff that he was talking about, stuff that I really didn't get to witness because I wasn't there.
In the room. Yeah.
So anyway, it was fun. That was great. We have to have him again. We'll tell more stories.
For sure. He loved the way he spoke about things and just the all the stuff with his grandfather and father. That's a lot. Could you imagine just going on Disney Plus and then you one of the thumbnails for episode 3, your father's there and it's oh shit.
Yeah. Wow.
That's cool. Yeah. And then if I was him, I would just tell people, Hennessy, the whiskey or cognac, whatever it is, I'm from that family. So you probably want my music in SpongeBob.
Exactly.
But anywho, let's let Bobby say goodbye to the audience real quick, and then we shall bid them adieu, and I think be back Sunday.
Yes, we're coming back Sunday. We have what do they call it? SoCal Spirit
Seekers. SoCal Spirit Seekers, I believe. We call
them
the
Ghost
Chicks.
Hunter, a pair of ghost hunting women from Orange County that I found on Instagram. And so I was like, hey, come on the podcast. And then I think they want to take me on a whatever they call it, where they go and try to find ghosts. I'm like, okay, I'll go.
Yeah, like a spirit walk or some shit. You're way braver than I am.
An investigation. That's what they call it.
Investigation. Paranormal investigation with Mr. Gracey.
Make sure you bring your proton.
Right.
Yes. Who are you gonna call?
I'll get slimed.
All right, Bobby, let the audience know that you love them and you shall see them some other day. Yes, they
already know. Love you guys.
The one and only Bobby, folks. Yes. What a great show, dude. Not that we don't love all our guests, but guests, that just keeps getting cool and cool and cool. So fun. And we shall see you Sunday for this ghost hunter thing. But I'm going to be a little spooked out. I might be in the dark, really get into the setting here, and be lit in candle lights. Probably not, but we'll see. Thank you, gracious audience. Please like, share, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. Sharing is the most important. Sharing is caring, folks.
Sharing is caring. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to go black screen, Chad.
All right, cool. Later.